important that they pick up this win. It's kind of expected at this point, but Unitas is just one of those teams. When they show up, they really can beat any team, literally. So if they have a good day with their Rogue Mage Priest, I really think they can go toe-to-toe with the Golden Guardians. So Golden Guardians can't kind of sleep on this one. They're going to have to put their best foot forward. But I do kind of expect in the blind pick, we're going to see Unitas with that Rogue Mage Priest and Golden Guardians likely. I wonder if we see Jelly, but I kind of don't think we will. I think it's going to be RPS from Golden Guardians would be my best bet.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Haha.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Game number 1, best of 5 series. It is Golden Guardians versus Unitas.
Yeah, this is kind of a matchup that the Golden Guardians, they are pretty comfortable in this matchup. They play it many times, and usually when you are playing that RMP, the Golden Guardians, this is one of those matchups you don't want to play. So we'll see, but Unitas definitely been looking on the up and up, and I mean, this is the first time we're going to see it with a Holy Priest as well, so definitely a lot of changes here. They're going to go after Absterge here, big hit with that combustion, taking massive damage. Battle Master's going to come out, Ash Force Shift is going to come out, and those are just his personal cooldowns. Now it's CMD here, taking massive damage, forced to use that Ice Block already here. Oxygen still has his Trinket, still has that Guardian as well. Actually, he had to use his Guardian as well, so defensive cooldown overlap there. The Golden Guardians immediately getting a beautiful opener here. Absterge, if he trinkets this, he could be a target, so he wants to sit that blind right there. Can he get the follow-up, though? Doesn't look like it just yet. Aiden not able to find it. Cheater comes out. Oxygen, though, not going to be able to find the fear here. It's going to be an opportunity to get that Tremor Totem down. CMD procs the Cauterize right there. No Ice Block available for him. No Gold, no Guardian Spirit available. Full blind on the Oxygen. Full silence on the Oxygen. If they can get a stun on the Oxygen here into a Hex or something, they can actually just straight up win the game here. Golden Guardians in a commanding position, Sim.
Yeah, I think Golden Guardians are about to take this. Absterge immunes crowd control with Fleshcraft, and they're desperate. They're gripping CMD, but now he's out in midfield. Mind Games is going to connect onto CMD. There's not much left here. CMD trying to recover with a couple Serenities out from Oxygen.
Nice.
They've got crowd control on the Golden Guardians. They're launching an attack onto Wizk, but he's greater faded at the moment. Mass Dispelling crowd control. Wind sharing the follow-up. Pikaboo getting ready for the next attack here. No caught, no block. Guardian comes up in 4 seconds. They really need to wait out for that. They get a Spearlink Totem. A little bit premature here, and it's not a smoke bomb. Here comes the shadowy duel from Aiden, but not getting any value. He gets feared on it. Now big damage coming in from Wizk. That's absolutely going to be it for CMD. They proc the seed. Did they Guardian the seed?
Guardian the
did.
seed.
And they've dropped smoke bomb on the seed. They're protecting the seed with the angel wings of Oxygen. CMD comes out reborn, but not too healthy at 30% health here. Oxygen interrupted. I mean, Unitas are living just on a prayer at this point, trying to recover behind the pillar. Stunned up by Pikaboo. Absterge on the right, Wizk on the left. They're pincering in on top of Oxygen and CMD, and I don't think they're going to let him live twice.
Probably not, but CMD does manage to come back to life. Oxygen does the impossible, but how much longer can he keep him alive? CMD hovering around 20% health, and it looks like Oxygen in crowd control. Pikaboo going over for a Garrote silence. Wizk, is there any follow-up? Big heals incoming. Golden Guardians. It looks like they are going to be able to close it out. A nice interrupt there by Pikaboo. CMD gets dropped twice. And the second time, there is no safety net. Golden Guardians come out swinging in game number 1 with a commanding victory.
Yeah, they just kind of had that momentum from the moment the gates open right up until the finish line there. A nice save on the egg, but at the end of the day, Pikaboo just too fast there at the end with the kick. They got the Garrote, they got the Shadow Priest silence, and they're able to finish the game.
All right, well done to Golden Guardians, starting off on a good foot here, winning that first victory. This is a best of 5 as well. We can take a look at the replay too from game number 1, break down how that all went down, Subatiz, how they secured that kill.
Oh, it's just aggression. They just trade their cooldowns. They stay on top of them. They stun CMD with Kidney Shot. They use Shadow Priest crowd control and Oxygen. I think he actually gets Wind Sheared potentially on a heal. Yeah, he's Wind Sheared, so he can't heal right now. Wizk comes out of the crowd control. He's ready to go. and he's got all of his damage just waiting to go with his power infusion. I don't even think he ends up using it. It's more like Pikaboo is just soloing CMD with pressure. Here's the Shadow Priest done. Oxygen can't heal. Pikaboo silences CMD. They can't move. He silences Oxygen too. Oxygen's mana is just really low. He's got no cooldowns. He got interrupted a ton at the end of this game. They really just bodied Oxygen. He's just on this Holy Priest like, man, I just want to press flash. Can you stop it? The Golden Guardians, like, come on. I just want to press it one time, please. He just got interrupted so many times. And with no defensive cooldowns, they just couldn't recover through the Golden Guardians' pressure.
All right. Well, hopefully, if you are watching from home and if you're a fan of Golden Guardians, you are really rooting for them here in this scenario. If you haven't seen the schedule yet for next weekend, these guys actually have to face off against some pretty tough teams for their very last 2 days in this circuit leading up to the finals. They've got Cloud9 and OTK, so those are some really big games that they've got for this weekend, for next weekend. So any points that they can get on the leaderboard leading up to next weekend is going to be a win for them. But of course, Unitas still fighting to stay here in this series. And, it's not really often that we see these guys switch off this composition. We did see Yoske a little bit yesterday, but do we expect them to switch up Zico heading into game number 2 or stick with this comp?
No, I think they're going to try it one more time. I feel like Unitas, they weren't actually able to land any real crowd control chains. They had that one swap to Absterge there in the start, and it looked like they had good pressure. And I mean, we're going to see it here. Unitas, they know themselves they can do better. Unitas, we talk about it a lot. They're one of those teams. They're very hot and cold. When sometimes they look like they did in the last game, and then sometimes they're just immediately dismantling some of the best teams in a minute or less. So I think for Unitas there was a couple of mistakes that happened there for them, and they kind of just fell behind. Their Shaman strategy didn't work out, and they weren't able to actually get any real crowd control on the Shaman and actually set up any real kills. So for them, I think they can play the same matchup, try it a little bit better, and maybe if that doesn't work, then they can bring in Yoske for like game number 3 potentially.
Yeah, I'd love to see them bring out Yoske once again, but we'll have to see. This game, though, they're going to be sticking with that same composition. Let's keep an eye on Unitas, see if they actually are able to make some of those setups that Zico just mentioned here in game number 2, ASHAMANE'S Fall.
All right, they're picking a bigger map. They want a little bit of space here. They don't want the Golden Guardians getting too close and personal. Golden Guardians not afraid to get aggressive, especially in a matchup like this. They've torn quite a few Rogue Mage teams apart in the past with the classic Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman. They're pretty much the only team in the world that run the Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman, at least to the level that they do. So Unitas have to uniquely prepare for this. It's going to be quite a difficult team to beat. Wizk getting sapped. They're opening on Absterge. A very interesting all-in on the healer. Absterge respecting it, trinketing and trading Astral Shift. However, they still have Blind. They still have Smoke Bomb. They still have Shadowy Duel. They got Pikaboo's trinket now as well. I mean, they could 100-0 Pikaboo in a duel into a bomb. I feel like Unitas, they've got a winning formula right now. They just need to initiate the crowd control correctly.
They actually, Golden Guardians messed up quite a bit in that opener. Pikaboo was trying to peel. He actually immediately cheap shot Aiden and dropped a smoke bomb to deny the combustion, and Absterge trinketed anyway. So a huge overlap there from the Golden Guardians, and now there's an actual possibility that Unitas could close this one out. They're just going to have to get perfect cross crowd control, and they're going to have to deny Wizk. Wizk is just so good at saving his team. However, he's not playing that Void Shift, so he does not have that life swap available to him. Let's see how they do this. They're going after Pikaboo. Potential setup here. Pikaboo could be in a little bit of trouble, but it looks like he should be okay. Just getting the kidney shot on CMD. CMD not able to free himself from that one, and Absterge now free from crowd control. Should easily be able to heal through this.
Honestly, Aiden here in big trouble. Has to use the Shadow Meld right there, the evasion, gets the restuff, gets a big heal there, and he definitely wanted that Shadow Meld for a little bit later, but he's going to be able to survive, and I'm really scared for Pikaboo here. Aiden actually trinkets, drops to 1% HP, gets a big heal once again, and for Aiden, he's got the Shadowy Duel. He had to use it defensively. No! I was just about to say, I'm so scared for Pikaboo here. He can get a Shadowy Duel onto Pikaboo and set up a big kill, but he's still going to go for it with the blind here. Big damage coming out. If this wasn't a Shadowy Duel, I feel like that game would have been over already here, but Pikaboo might still go down. They get the full sap. Wizk, can he do anything to save the day? It does not look like it. Pikaboo is going to go down as a direct result of that awful opener the Golden Guardians had.
You know that the duel actually baited Pikaboo to use evasion, and then Aiden just used Shadow Blades right there, and then there was no cooldown for it. So they're still trying to win here. There's no way, right? There's no way.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
there's no way.
Aiden's back to full. It was just a mishap at the beginning between the Golden Guardians and what they wanted to do. It's not very often Rogue Mage actually targets the Shaman, so Unitas really mixed it up, and Golden Guardians were all like, I'm going to save the day. And then if everybody saves the day, then who's going to save the day later is what ended up happening to them. So if they just clarify who's going to be the one that stops the opener, everyone was trying to be the hero. Like, I'm going to trinket wall. I'll smoke bomb you. I'll smoke bomb you. You're fine. It's, oh, we pressed every button. Oh. And then Unitas are just playing around that for the rest of the game. So Unitas are still a threat.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no question about it. We can kind of see what exactly happens. At this point, Golden Guardians, they've just really got nothing left. They're going for offense, and they almost take down Aiden. A really close call. This is a shadowy duel Sid was talking about. Pikaboo uses the evasion to try to avoid that incoming damage, and Aiden kind of just patiently waits. And then once they get this set up, it's just a ton of damage coming in from all three members of Unitas. This wasn't even the combustion. I mean, you can see CMD has combustion. He didn't even use it. It was just overwhelming damage, overwhelming crowd control, and they managed to pick up a win and tie up the series.
Yeah, things could potentially be looking up here for Unitas. Now it's tied up in this best of 5 series, able to shut that down before hitting dampening as well. So pretty good setup there on the side of Unitas. We'll see if Golden Guardians can recover heading into this next game. It is going to be their map choice as well. So we'll have to see what they do, if they adjust at all, or if they stick with that same composition that they were running with. But Unitas looking so good, good so far in game number 2 on that comp Super Ts.
Yeah, I mean, they got the best opener possible, and then I was still kind of just like, are they going to lose? Like, this should be free win. You have blind, bomb, and Shaman and Rogue have no trinket. This should literally, the game is over. It should just be over, but then it almost looked like they were going to lose. So unless they get like that miracle start, I'm worried about it, about them being able to pull this off. DALARAN sewers, map not really too big of a deal. I guess they want the smaller maps so they can get on top of Oxygen and start landing a lot of interrupts. And Golden Guardians just need to clarify who's doing what at the start of the game, because Unitas just played a strategy that I really think Rogue Mages haven't played like at all. You never see the Shaman opened on. And as a result, Golden Guardians were just like, wait, what do we need to do? Do I need to trinket this? And then I was like, oh yeah, I need to trinket this. So if they just split up their cooldowns and protect Absterge from that opener, I think that they'll likely be able to take this to a match point, but Rogue Mage is always an explosive comp, so if Unitas, like Zico said, if they're on fire, if they're hot, they might actually be able to take the series. So they got to ride the momentum. They just got to keep playing clean and looking for any opportunity that they can get.
Yeah, I mean, it was mentioned earlier before, but that's really what I love about this team, Unitas. They always come in here, as the underdog, but it's like when they're here and they're ready and they're prepared, they're just an insane team. They've been playing this composition forever. Their synergy is on point, but when we speak to them in the interviews, they're all very busy people. They don't get to have that practice time in maybe as much as they would have liked. They're all on different time zones as well, so they've got quite a bit of things working against them, and yet here they are. They're still staying in that competition, getting games off of teams such as Golden Guardians. We've seen insane 3-0s from this team in the past as well. They've been APAC championships before, so regardless of the current score that they have in the circuit, this is a team that you don't want to underestimate, and that is what Golden Guardians cannot do right now in this series, tied up in the best of 5 series. So underestimating this team, Unitas, would not be a good thing for them. So we'll have to see if GG keeps that winning streak going, or if Unitas wins game number 3 here on DALARAN Sewers.
Honestly, I really feel like GG just they're gonna clean up their defensive strategy. They're gonna probably talk about who trinkets what first, and for them, they kind of know what to do in this matchup. They have extremely good pressure, and they know exactly how to leverage that and accelerate it to the point where they win the game. So for GG, it's business as usual. Just kind of brush off that as a mistake. And for Unitas, of course, they need to try to force those mistakes here. And if they can get overwhelming damage, if they can get good openers like that, could be big. They went for a fear onto Absterge, but you just got mass dispelled unfortunately not able to. Maybe they were trying to get Pikaboo out of stealth with that fear. I'm not sure, but definitely not going to be the best start here for Unitas. They won't have that fear, and they also won't be able to use that blind now for a significant amount of time here because of that DR.
I think they're going to just bait Shaman Trinket and try and use the blind afterwards. We're going to have to wait and see, but right now this is obviously good for the Golden Guardians. Look at the pressure, look at the crowd control. This is the Golden Guardians. You'll love to see pressure onto Aiden in game number 3. Holding on to cooldowns, going for a vanish. Potentially getting pulled out here. Pikaboo getting interrupted on Fleshcraft. Pikaboo is anticipating a stun off that vanish, so good read by Pikaboo, but shut down. Wizk's got Vampiric Embrace. His team's going to be stable. They're going for Power Infusion. They're dropping Smoke Bomb. They're trying to take out Aiden. Aiden trinkets and evasions and Cloak of Shadows. Big power play by Pikaboo with that Smoke Bomb. High value, but here comes the blind. Unitas look for the turnaround. 3 versus 1. Absterge trinkets into a stun. Mind Games looking to connect here into a full polymorph. Beautiful execution by Unitas. Nice turnaround, but they're not finding enough damage to take down Pikaboo, and Pikaboo still holds on to his medallion. Now stunning Aiden, silence on Oxygen, and it's Golden Guardian's opportunity to turn it around again. They're going to get the Guardian Angel, but they might even proc it, which puts it on a 3-minute cooldown. They hold strong. They don't proc the Angel. Oh, is that a prem on the blind? I think Oxygen just Shadow or Death blind. That's a really good play, if so, by Oxygen. But now he's in a fear. Aiden's still below half HP. Oxygen's desperately trying to get in line of sight. He's got the Apotheosis. He can reset some crowd control here. Absterge is still polymorph. Pikaboo is still likely the target. The Rogues are the main focus fire. Aiden stunned up once again by the Golden Guardians. Can Oxygen heal through the pressure of the Golden Guardians? Absterge is pushing forward. Gets a Hex onto CMD. CMD removed from the fight. A bit surprising to not even just see him trinket this. His team's on the back foot. Mana's looking scarce here for Unitas. They're just trying to stay afloat a little bit longer for an opportunity. They polymorph Absterge. They've been getting good crowd control, but the damage just isn't there. Aiden's on 10%. He's dying during his own go. That's going to be it. KO. Golden Guardians looking clean in game 3.
I mean, we're going to see that on the replay. I'm sure Ezekiel will break it down for us, but that was Unitas's go, and somehow it got turned around on them. There's a full sheep on Absterge. Wizk just really carried the offense there. Then even though it was Pikaboo in a stun, it was Aiden that ended up going down. So Golden Guardians kind of doing a lot better job in this game, I'd say, in terms of their defensive cooldown rotation. They didn't fall apart like we saw on ASHAMANE'S, and they just had really solid offense on Aiden.
Yeah, we're going to see it here. Aiden definitely could use some aid in that stun, but it's going to be Wizk, unfortunately, bringing the pressure. So here they get the Hex onto CMD, and that's just go, go, go for them. They get the Wind Shear onto Oxygen. Pikaboo Shadow Steps to Oxygen to make it back to Aiden right there. Aiden activates the Feint. There's the Dragon's Breath. CMD gets the Poly here, so this is their go. Aiden's still kind of low. Flash Heals comes out, but Wizk is going to interrupt it in a second here. They get the counter kidney shot. Actually, Wizk didn't even use his Psychic Horror right there. I thought he did, but just overwhelming amount of damage, and also that mortal wounds effect from the Assassination Rogue when you don't have that Guardian Spirit. You just, yeah.
Look at that damage. That is crazy.
It almost tripled it.
The damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are definitely right. It seems like Golden Guardians has bounced back here in this series. Another game win against Unitas right now, and they are very close to shutting this series down, getting that victory, putting that point on the board for themselves in the circuit. Unitas needs to figure something out here. If they stay on this comp, what is it that we could see them potentially fixing Zico, doing differently as they head into this next game?
I feel like these games are so fast. It just snowballs out of control so quickly. One thing that I kind of don't like is the Holy Priest. I feel like the Holy Priest is not getting that value. The good thing about the Holy Priest is you get the Chastise into the Fear, or you get the stun that helps the mage set up. You know, you can stun into Fear, and the mage can get a Dragon's Breath Sheep and then a ring. It just helps the mage to get those CCs. But I feel like we're not seeing those crisp setups, especially when they're going for the healer. If you're going for the healer, just get a Disc Priest, you get Dark Archangel, you get more damage, and you're also not going to have a healer that has to cast all the time. And with Disc Priest, it's a lot more safe healing with those double schools, and you have the Radiance Panic buttons. With Holy Priest, it's a lot more you have to rotate through your cooldowns, and when you don't have them, well, you have to spam Flash Shield. So for Unitas, maybe they could swap the spec there on the healer, but for them, honestly, it's more about, I think, the setups, especially the opener. The openers have been really bad for them. Like last game, they ran in, they feared, and then it just got mass dispelled. Like, yeah, I feel like at least open on Wizk if you're gonna get the fear and you're gonna do that opener, or I don't know, fear and then try to CC Wizk and get an opener out of the fear. Like it just looked like they were a little bit uncoordinated, and they are gonna go for the disc priest. Also for the sub rogue. No, they had a sub rogue before, so yeah, they're gonna go to the disc priest. I like that. I think it makes a lot more sense.
All right. Okay, and they're locking into Hook Point. We're seeing another small map, smaller, quite a bit different than DALARAN as well. So maybe this is where we see them turning this back around, evening the score a little bit. Oxygen, like Zico already got excited about, gonna be taking that advice, switching to that disc priest. So maybe we'll see something get turned around here. But Golden Guardians, I mean, they've looked really solid here in these last 2 games. And like you were saying, Zico, it's kind of like, is that really, if you mess up the opener in RMP, I mean, how detrimental is that to the rest of your game?
Well, it depends a little bit on the matchup, but I mean, here, some RMP matchups, you're going to be playing for a long game, but here, these games are a minute and a half, 2-minute games where one team gets the pressure and then you kind of snowball that pressure. So for the RMP, you definitely want to get those big openers. If you can get an opener where you scare Absterge like on that game number 2, you make him trinket. Even if Pikaboo doesn't use his trinket in that same exchange, that's still a really good opener because you can blind Absterge, you can sap him, and you can go after Wizk, you can go after Pikaboo, and you can get their trinkets, you can get their cooldowns, and then you can still set something up with like a shadowy duo or a smoke bomb. It just opens up the game for that second combustion as well to actually end the game. So getting a big opener where you force a trinket is very, very important if you're Unitas.
All right, well, let's see what they can do here in the opener. All eyes on Unitas. Can they pull this off? Can they tie it up? Or is this Golden Guardians victory with a 3-1 on Hook Point? Let's see what they can do.
Either way, this is going to be over quick. They're starting on Absterge. Are they going to respond appropriately here? They don't even scratch him. Pikaboo totally shuts it down with a kidney shot onto Aiden, and Absterge is just going to walk it off back to the pillar. This is devastating for Unitas. They've already used a barrier. It does answer the smoke bomb, the defensive smoke bomb, but Aiden's in trouble. He's trying to go for a push, but almost gets taken out by Wizk. Single-handedly getting soloed by Wizk. Has to use Cloak of Shadows just to stay in the fight here. They do manage to secure a polymorph, but Aiden's in a kidney shot. They pull Aiden back to the side, trying to recover with the pain suppression, but cooldown after cooldown, Golden Guardians are establishing a lead.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, Golden Guardians right now, they have so much offense onto Aiden. This is the vendetta as well. Aiden trying to play as defensive as he can in this situation. He's got no Cloak of Shadows. He's got no evasion. Oxygen gets caught into a full blind. Aiden on the run. Oxygen forced to trade out a trinket. And now there's no defense. Unitas basically has nothing. There's no vanish, no cloak, no evasion. Aiden does have his trinket, but even if he trinkets, there's no real answer. Maybe a defensive shadowy duel. Pikaboo just going to be sitting in stealth, waiting for Aiden, just allowing Wizk and Absterge to have a bit of a 2v2 here against Oxygen and CMD. You can see mana heavily in favor of the Golden Guardians right now. This is just kind of a disaster here for Unitas. Aiden's going to have to play patient, wait it out. Pikaboo, I think he got a sniff of him. Got a sniff of the scent. Wizk's going to move over immediately and grab the eye as well. Now Aiden in a full kidney shot. This is a disaster. Is there any crowd control? Silence on Oxygen. Where's the follow-up damage? Where's the follow-up crowd control? Wizk pushing in to make some hero plays. He gets the Psychic Horror, but no Psychic Scream. He actually fades in, gets a full fear. Aiden all by himself. This is a disaster for Unitas. Aiden is going to get dropped. How is he still alive? I think it was a Shadow Meld that kept him up. But a full kidney shot lasts. I mean, Aiden, he just cannot catch a break. It's just so much pressure on him through this game. Oxygen now spamming in the Rapture Shields, throwing in a Radiance, but he's basically burned through all of his mana, and Aiden is still not topped off. What is this damage from the Golden Guardian? Aiden has just been dead for the better part of 2 minutes. The entire game, Golden Guardians was winning. Unitas burned through every cooldown, all their mana, and that was really dominant.
That was brutal. Poor Aiden, he had so much to work with offensively, but he could just never do it because he was just always dead. It's so much pressure from the Golden Guardians from start to finish. They forced every single rogue cooldown, and after that, both rogues just sitting in stealth. Pikaboo has no reason really to open. Aiden knows if he opens, well, he has no cooldowns. He's not really going to escape again, so they find Aiden there at the end, and they just ride that momentum start to finish. I mean, here they're trying to get aggressive. The defensive shadowy duel, they get a sheep on the Pikaboo, they get a kidney shot on the Absterge, but unfortunately Oxygen feared. Wizk gets sheep. Now it's a 3 versus 1 here on Pikaboo, but Aiden just not able to pull the trigger on it because of that 1% HP situation that he was in. And here, honestly, he just wants to hold on to his trinket, but this is the first time in the game where he was actually topped off before he got kidneyed. I think he should have just trinketed it, popped the Shadow Dance, try to get aggressive there, but unfortunately for him as well, they already did the go. Absterge was on Sheep DR from that Ring of Frost, so even if he did trinket, the only target he could have really went for maybe would be Absterge. So I don't know. It's just a really rough situation. You can see Aiden doing significantly less damage here than Pikaboo. I mean, in general, Unitas doing significantly less damage than the Golden Guardians, and Golden Guardians just had that pressure the entire time and never let go.
Yeah, they did not let up. Insane pressure from Golden Guardians.